His Holiness, my name's George. It was mentioned on the television news last week.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the television news last week that scientists seem to agree that all alcoholic drinks are beneficial in some degree. In view of that, can you still stick by the strict Muslim ban on alcohol? And
it's not a question of scientists alone. It's a question of scientists, and it's a question of moralists, and it's a question of criminologists. Their opinion put together should be considered. As far as the benefits of spirit are concerned, this is one object which is mentioned in the Holy Quran with a reference also to its benefits. While forbidden, it says it has its benefits, of course, but its harms outweigh the benefits. And the harms are briefly mentioned in principle, which speak of its power, its capability to dazzle human intellect, to befog human intellect, to capture human intellect to a degree where he is no longer in command of his actions. Now, if you read criminologists' appraisal of what is happening in the Western society in particular, you will see that the one single culprit which is attributed to be responsible most largely for the crime in our society is alcohol. And alcohol addiction is much wider than the drug addiction. And not only the crimes, but the suffering which results from alcoholism every Christmas at least, by way of killing of innocent lives and badly mauled people, etc., during driving by the alcoholics, is not a piece of information at all. Everybody knows this. Moreover, once I read a report in some British magazine which spoke of the crimes committed against women in a society which is unfortunately less advantageous economically, the lower rung of the society, of labours, etc. That report was very clear on this, that most of the crimes committed against poor women in the lowly placed society are done under the influence of alcohol. And most of the deprived children must blame alcoholism of their parents or their father, because the earning which they have is not sufficient to be able to maintain a decent standard for the whole family, plus provide for their special weakness for alcohol. So they go to the pubs and return drowning their fears, drowning their sorrows, apparently at advantage, but also drowning all their sense of moral values and abusing their own wives, smashing their heads against walls, being cruel to the children, destroying the peace of home. So if you study the whole case without any prejudice, just neutrally, you will come to, I believe you will come to the same conclusion as I have myself come, that if you remove alcoholism from British society, drinking from the British society, it will turn into a much better and attractive place to live, and with very little of crookedness and crime left in this. The second thing which I want to point out is that evil addictions can also be determined by the children they give birth to. You see, if you are a milk drinker, for instance, teetotaler, such habits do not create other habits which are worse than these. The simple habits, you can live for centuries with these without their giving birth to worse habits. But addiction always creates worse forms of addiction. And drug addiction is a child of alcoholism, in fact. When you can no longer be kicked to the degree that you want, when you no longer can be excited to a state which used to excite you but no more, when you want to go beyond, then of course you are in search of something like drugs of different forms and types. And this drug addiction, according to my study, is definitely born out of the alcoholic addiction before it or before it. Again, this drug addiction or overmuch alcoholism also is related to promotion of crime. Because when you are addicted to a player, whether it's a good player or bad player, irrelevant. When you're addicted to any player and you do not have economic means to have access to that player, then crime is willy-nilly born. Because addiction is something which demands things most terribly. A man who is addicted loses command of his own faculties and sense of justice and fair play, and he must have what he wants to have at that time. So that is the reason why these things are interrelated and they go on increasing and resulting in and proliferating in other smaller or bigger evils. So I'm quite satisfied with the Islamic teaching that alcoholism is forbidden.